Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRNradio.
Are you ready to reach for the stars? Tune in to The Lost Wanderer, the #1 monthly podcast on good pods in astronomy. Join our host, Jeff, as he takes you on an interstellar adventure to explore the mysteries of space and the wonders of science. From rocket launches and distant galaxies to the latest discoveries in astronomy, each episode is a thrilling ride through the cosmos. Don't just gaze at the stars, come explore the universe with us. Follow The Lost Wanderer wherever you get your podcasts, and let's discover the stars together.
Hi everyone, this is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
You a Joni Christmas. We wish you a Joni Christmas. We wish you a Joni Christmas and a Proby New Year.
Oh my goodness. Welcome everyone to another episode of He Said, She Said. I am your discombobulated hostess, Aggie, and with me is the awesome Rowdy Rick. How are you tonight?
Doing pretty good. How you doing? You doing all right over there? You need a moment to compose yourself? Are you good?
I did not expect that. And you told me, you warned me that there was something at the end of the intro. I should be prepared, and I still did not expect that. So.
What's the fun of being able to do a Cartman impression if you can't use it at Christmas time?
Oh, this is true. This is true. So, congratulations. You completely freaked me out.
You're welcome.
So, how are things going with you?
Getting ready for, I've got the precursor to my loaded cheese potatoes is in the oven for our potluck dish that we're taking to Dad's for early Christmas tomorrow. And unfortunately, I still have some presents that are being delivered in the morning because it's been a crazy couple of weeks. So we'll be wrapping like crazy people. But yeah, we've got first Christmas at my dad's tomorrow. So I'll be gone a good bit of the day. So, yay, fun
Oh.
times. Gracie's excited. She has discovered her new favorite Christmas song.
Oh.
You'll get a kick out of this one. It's Feliz Navidad.
It's a really simple one, so I can understand why she likes it.
So yeah, now we have this whole dichotomic thing going on in the car because normally if she has a good morning and she has a good day at school, she gets to pick what we listen to on the ride in and on the ride home because that way Papa doesn't have to be mean because if she has a bad day, I can say, okay, you don't get to pick music. We'll try again later, and it works. But now she's like, it's always a draw. Am I gonna get to listen to Feliz Navidad? Or am I going to get to listen to Shake It Off? Because yes, my 4-year-old granddaughter, thanks to her best friend at school, is now a Swiftie. So somebody needs to. I haven't put it up yet, but somebody needs to scan the code in a second when I put it up and send me some boost because my 4-year-old grandchild is now a Swiftie.
No.
Please send boost.
No, my God. And on her 35th birthday. It's Taylor Swift's 35th birthday. Yeah. She's everything Madonna wishes had been and would become. So I think it's kind of funny to watch.
Your thoughts and prayers are useless, you heartless bastard. Send booze.
Oh man. I remember when she was, 13 and just had her first single or whatever it was and all that stuff. And she has become her own empire. So that's not nothing to sneeze at. Nothing to sneeze at. She's not one of my favorite people. I mean, I'm not a fan of her music or anything, but I can admire her business sense and her giving ways to others. So, it's kind of nice. Well, but I'm sorry for you.
Well, part of it's my fault because since I'm being tortured with Taylor Swift, I'm finding fun ways to try to torture back, and Gracie's actually liking it. So of course, that's probably if there's any song of hers I can almost tolerate, it's that one because at least it's fun and it's not that bad. But so since normally, I mean, we live out in the country, so there's a lot of back road driving. So I make the car dance on the Shake It Off parts, and Gracie absolutely loves it. Do it again, Papa, do it again.
Oh, no.
It's my own fault, but yeah, she went to school in one of her favorite Christmas dresses the day she had her antler hairband on, and she was singing Frosty the Snowman until we got in the car, and then can we turn on Shake It Off? I'm like, how about we stick with Christmas music? I'll let you listen to that on the way home.
Well, Taylor Swift has put out Christmas albums, so
yeah, she can't hear you, so shut up.
I'm only trying to help, Gracie.
Sure you are trying to help me finish losing my sanity.
Oh man! Now, so far, I've actually been winning Whamageddon. I cannot believe I am this far into December and I have not heard the song yet.
Dude, I took myself out of Whamageddon. Listening to Christmas music with Gracie, I was like, son of a bitch.
Oh, dang. I'm sorry. But that does not grant you permission to actually play it during the show because that doesn't count.
No, I wouldn't have done that to you anyway. I wasn't aware that you were partaking in Whamageddon, or I would have mentioned that I got myself out like 3 days after Thanksgiving.
Oh, I just observe it. I'm not with any group or anybody, doing it. I just avoid certain songs, and that's one of them.
Yeah, me either. So. Gene plays it and has a big old group that he plays it with, and I'm just like, you know what? I'll kind of just do it on my own thing. And then it occurred to me because I didn't even announce that I was doing it this year, and it was like 2 or 3 days after Thanksgiving. And I'm like, oh, Gracie likes Christmas music. Second song in. Fucking, are you kidding me? I turn on Christmas music after Thanksgiving the way God intended, not before, after Thanksgiving the way God intended, and karma gets me on the second Christmas song. That's just the story.
Dang, that's harsh. Well, I tend to control the Christmas music in the house so that I have, my playlist and my CDs that I play. So that way I don't have to deal with not that I get FM radio reception all the way out here. I can get AM, but I can't get FM. I mean, I'm that remote, so I don't have to worry about that. But my girlfriend was asking me about a reunion for our dorm at Texas A&M, and she was of the opinion that we should have, because we used to be very big fans back in 1986 and 87, we should have like a Wham Fest. And I'm like, no, it's not happening. I can't do that. And she was like, why not? I was like, it's up in the air and it's an idea. And I thought, well, maybe we could have like a mixer and have like a Wham Fest there, but not throughout the whole 3-day thing, And she was like, oh, I'll organize it. I'll do it. I'll do everything. I was like, I mean, she's a big fan. She's a huge George Michael and Wham fan. So we were discussing the whole Whamageddon thing and everything. And she's like, I just don't understand the hate. And I'm like, because you're a fan. You don't understand the hate because you're a fan. That's all. And I said, it's not exactly hate. It's just that they've happened to pick this one song. And it is kind of a sad song. And you don't want sad songs during Christmas. You want happy songs during Christmas. I was trying to make her understand. She was just like so bitter about the whole Whamageddon. I didn't have the heart to tell her. Oh my goodness.
Now, just for fun on when we do a show after New Year's, I'm going to record Cartman doing that song because then it won't count anymore.
Well, I don't know if maybe you could recall, but I recorded a take on Santa Baby that was broadcast on KLRN on my podcast a long time ago.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And I sing that whenever I'm cleaning the kitchen or when I'm wrapping presents or doing whatever. And it is to the point that when I was at home cooking the Thanksgiving dinner for my parents, or lunch, as it turned out to be, I was singing that. And my dad comes into the kitchen and says, those are not the lyrics. Because he's a big Eartha Kitt fan. Okay. My father has been an Eartha Kitt fan since Eartha Kitt started. I mean, well, he's 92, so he's seen her entire career, right? And that is one of the few reasons why he owns Emperor's New Groove, because of her. He loves that movie. He does. He loves that movie. He thinks it's great. And I do too. It's one of my favorites. But I was singing my take and he was like, those are not the lyrics. And I was like, no, Dad, I changed them. And he's like, why'd you change them? I was like, I thought it'd be funny. And he's like looking at me going, okay, you're going to have to write them down. So I did. I wrote them all down. And he's reading them and he's like, these are all booze. This is all liquor. I said, yes, Dad, I know. But I couldn't tell him why I wrote this. I rewrote this. But in the end, he thought it was very funny. And I still have it. I have it on my phone. So I pulled it up so that he could hear it with the music. And he was cracking up. And so he had a lot of fun with that song. It was neat. I did not expect my parents to hear me, so that's why I was singing. Otherwise, I would have sung the traditional lyrics, but it worked out. And as it happens, I left my house with 6 bottles of wine and 1 bottle of cognac. So hey, it worked out. They're not for me. Don't freak out. It's just my parents they don't drink wine. So every time they would host a party, people would bring wine, and they had the bottles were just multiplying. And my mom was like begging me to take all the wine. I said, okay, fine, I'll take what you don't have open. But my dad asked me to keep the Moscato because that they do drink a little bit of that during Christmas and New Year's. So that's how I got my hands on several different types of wine. It was pretty cool. I have a Shiraz, a Claret, a Port, the Cognac, a Zinfandel, a Cabernet Sauvignon, a Tempranillo, and I forgot what the other one was. A Riesling. A Riesling. Is that 7 bottles? I'm not sure.
It sounded like it.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I came home with. So that was kind of cool. And some of the dates on those, 2004, 2003. I'm going, how long has this been in here? So yeah, it has been a good start to the holiday season, I must say. It's been nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm almost done. I wrapped all the Christmas gifts. I have sent out boxes for a lot of friends. I told you yours is en route. 40s, yours is en route too. I sent cards this year, y'all. Okay, so you know how I was gifting rocks to people, and I promise I'm gonna get back to that after the winter season is over. But it's just been insane and too busy here, so I had to suspend it for a while. I kept all of those addresses so that I could send out Christmas cards to people, and so I thought I just had a few addresses, so I had a box of 24 cards. Nope. I had to buy 4 more boxes. And I was telling this to my daughter, and my daughter's looking at me going, "You didn't keep track?" And I said, "Yes, I kept track on, I copied down the addresses on a notebook, and and how many pages is it?" And I said, "There's 10 pages."
That's a lot of pages.
And she was like, you see, you didn't keep track because you thought 24 cards would be okay. And I was like, yeah, I know. But so almost all the cards have gone out. I have 2 more packages to send out, and the rest of the cards go out tomorrow. And then I'll be completely done with everything that goes out. I have wrapped all of the Christmas gifts. I think I have 1 more Christmas gift incoming, and I'm pretty much, I think I'm done.
Yeah, I never plan well enough. I keep every year I'm like this, I'm gonna do things different next year, and then I never do. So yeah, I'm scrambling to get presents and stuff wrapped by morning so that I can be ready to go by 1 tomorrow. Ready to go by about noon tomorrow, so I can be at my dad's by 1 tomorrow. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun morning. It's gonna be a fun morning.
I'm sure it will be. And you know what? We're at the age where we are treasuring every little bit of time that we have with our folks and friends and family. I was a bit, I can't believe I have to go home and cook Thanksgiving because I told Mom I would, and blah blah blah. And I get there and I'm like, I'm so glad I'm here. I am so happy that I'm here. I cannot tell you. I was running all of their errands. I was fixing stuff all over the house. My mom comes to me with an ornament. She's like, "Can you repaint this to make it look prettier?" I said, "Yeah, I'm on it." Ran to Joann's, bought paint and brushes, came back. She was like, "Did you buy paint just for that?" I'm like, "Well, Mom, I don't travel with my kit of paint, okay?"
You don't?
But it was all paint that I could reuse. So I told her, "Don't worry, this paint will get used. It's not a problem." And so I repainted it for her, and I fixed my dad's. I sewed back my dad has this windbreaker that he's really attached to, and I'm not gonna lie, I went through and I looked for the members only jacket that I know we had in the house, and my mom broke my heart. She said she gave it away. Y'all, she gave away the members only jacket. I was distraught. I wanted that so badly. But anyway.
Why would she do that?
Because she thought it was old. I'm like, no, Mom, it's a classic. I also took down a pair of end tables that I had refinished for her.
I would have gotten in trouble because when I said, "Mom, what did you do that for?" Because I thought it was old. We didn't throw you away.
But it was, all of these little things that my mom wanted done, and they were just little things. I mean, it wasn't like my sister's a DIY diva. If she sees something wrong, I'm not even joking. She took apart the shower to fix the flooring in the shower so that it wouldn't leak, because the people that installed it put grout in the edges instead of silicone. So there was a leak. And my sister took all that stuff apart, fixed it, put it all back together. It looks like it was never touched. It was amazing. I mean, she does all sorts of stuff. But the little things like fix this, or can you clean the chandelier, or can you shine up the crystal, or just those little chores that my mom doesn't have the patience for anymore. So it was great being home, and I hated leaving. I really did. So I've decided I don't do New Year's resolutions, but this may count as one, and I'm going to be traveling to my folks every 6 weeks to at least be there for a long weekend. And they live 600 miles away. So I'm seriously thinking about flying instead of driving because driving's a bitch. I love my state, but traveling through this state is incredible. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the state of Texas is the size of most countries. Actually, it's bigger than most countries.
Well, I remember I have traveled all of I-10. And I actually traveled from I-10 starts in Jacksonville, I think, before it hooks up to I-95. And I drove through Jacksonville and Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. And when we got to Shreveport, we spent the night. And then from Shreveport, when we entered Texas, it says, mile marker 1. By the time we hit El Paso, it was 8:58. So, and it's the same in the other direction as well. It's a very wide state, and yet, we're not the biggest state. I would hate to travel like this through Alaska. I don't know how people live there in the first place because of the cold and the ice and the moose. But I could not travel through it. But and the length of California is extremely prohibitive. I don't know how people manage to go from San Diego all the way up to Oregon in one day. I don't get it.
Stick around.
But yeah, so that's good to know. Thank you, Raptor. Ultralights are cheap.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I guess you don't need a license to fly one, so that can be fun.
No. So anyway, but so that's what I want to get into the habit of doing that. My sister, I have a sister that lives about 4 hours drive from my parents, and she goes every so often for a long weekend. But she is starting to complain because the rest of us don't put in the effort. Now, keep in mind, I have one sister living in freaking Germany, so she can't just come in for a long weekend. And the other 3 of us are living in Northeast Texas, and so it is, the time spent in a vehicle is too much. That's why I break it up into 2 days of travel instead of 1. I used to be able to just drive it in 1 day, but it's tiring.
Oh, trust me, I know.
But anyway, so I guess I'm ready-ish for Christmas, and you are almost ready for Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, Gracie got to finish decorating the Christmas tree yesterday. We did that a little bit later than we normally do this year for some reason, but she was all excited because she came home from school and it was already up, and Jesse and David had put a lot of the decorations on. So she got to do her favorite ones because I told Jesse, I was like, she's only 4. She's not going to want to do the whole tree with you. You and your brother get it set up first and get it the way you want it to look, and then let her do 4 or 5 of her favorites, because that's going to be about the extent of her attention span. Because normally we used to wait and do it when all the grandkids were here, but that doesn't really happen that much anymore because now everybody just meets up at my dad. So like, since the rest of the kids aren't coming, you might as well just do a lot of it and just let her do a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to turn into a chore. And like 10 minutes in, she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then everybody's going to be mad because she's only 4. But yeah, so Christmas trees, decorations, all that's up. I still am mad at myself. I didn't get the Thanksgiving blow up thing that I tell myself I'm going to get every year. The one we've talked about on here before. The one with the turkey sitting on top of Santa Claus holding a sign that says, wait your turn, fat boy.
Oh, yes.
One of these years, I'm going to get that damn thing. One of these years. as my Thanksgiving decoration in my front yard. But yeah, so I don't know. I was telling Jesse, for some reason this year, and it's weird because earlier in the year it wasn't really this. It didn't really feel like that. But for some reason this year, I'm kind of having issues with getting into the Christmas spirit, which is weird because that's not like me. This is usually my favorite time of year.
Yeah, that is not like you at all.
It's like,
And
I think it's because it's turned into, it used to be we would do one at my dad's and then everybody would come here. Now I've got like 4 and 5 Christmases to cram in. And I'm just like, that's too much. That's too much. Because I've got the one with my dad's tomorrow. And then I've got one with my aunt on Christmas Eve. We've got another group of people that wants us to meet them during the day on Christmas Eve. And then I've got the kids are going to the X's on Christmas Day while I go figure out something that I'm going to do because I'm not hanging out there. And that's already 4 different Christmases. And now somebody else is talking about wanting to do one after Christmas. And I'm just like, my kids have enough crap. I don't need 5 Christmases.
I get that.
I'm not Jewish. I don't need 8 days of Christmas.
I completely get that. When I first moved here, and y'all know I live very remote, but when I first moved here, my husband asked me, are you going to mind being so far from a big city? Because the nearest big city is Tyler, and that's still an hour away. And it's not that big of a city. It's 100,000 people. But I mean, that's a nicely fair sized city. I'm not saying it's not. It's just that, I came from San Antonio, which was about 1 million or more. And I lived in DFW. I lived in Houston. So, he was kind of afraid that I was going to be missing having people around, being able to go places, being able to go out to eat to more than 2 restaurants. That was a big one. That kind of thing. Now I'm like, I sure as fuck hope that nobody builds around me. This is my area and I don't want anybody near it. Even my family's like, never seen you this hostile about people moving into the area. I was like, oh, you have no idea. I don't want people around here. I don't want people around. I am not, I like my solitude. I've gotten used to where I can go out on my deck and just enjoy the peace and the quiet and the gunshots every so often because, live in the country, and every so often a cow will come onto my property, which, by the way, I think we have a cow because I was using a thermal scope the other night and I saw a very large body that did not look like a deer and it did not look like a hog. So the only other thing I could think of was a cow. But she didn't show her face in the morning, so I don't know. But neither here nor there. I've gotten used to the solitude. I've gotten used to that, except during the holidays. I really want to be around people during the holidays. And this past Thanksgiving was really hard for me because it was just the 2 of us here. My kids couldn't come. I couldn't go down to my parents because of the issue with my HVAC. And, I still needed to be here for that. And I was just like going insane. And I was so grateful to go down to my parents so that I could do something for them. And then my mom decided to invite a couple of friends who had never had duck before. And so they really enjoyed it. And, we had a little party and it was great. I had my fill of people, and then I came back home. So this Christmas, we actually may have not just a couple of the kids, but a couple who are, they used to live not far from here, about an hour from here. They're now traveling the world, but she needed some jaw surgery. And so she needs a place to stay. And I'm like, oh, you can stay with us. We have a guest house. You can stay here. So I will have, company throughout the holidays. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I'm kind of weird that way, because most of the time, no, I don't want anybody around here except on holidays. I need people around for the holidays. I really do.
Yeah, what I find is funny is Ordy's in the chat going, I'm going to buy a property next to her just to annoy her. Dude, she would be at your house every day. What are you doing, Ordy? What are you doing? What are you doing?
No. He would be at my house because I'd be doing the cooking and I'd be doing the bartending. He would be here. Okay. I would be taking care of Ordy.
This is true. I want a shack by the water. That's all I want.
Hey, I have a field. Bring a tent.
I've seen your backyard. I just need a tiny home by that thing back there. That's it. Oh, anyway.
I'm thinking that's what the new property owners want to do, is have some tiny homes put in the property. They have about 38 acres that adjoin ours. And I think that's what they want to do. I'm not sure. They haven't really made up their minds on what to do. But yeah, if they do that, I'll let y'all know.
Hey, got tiny homes popping up all around me. Come out. Come on.
Well, Calvin, my lake, I have a lake. It's 6 acres. Is that good enough? I do say that, Ordy. You know dang well I would be cooking, and I would be giving you all sorts of cocktails, and I would be like taking care of you and your mom. You gotta bring your mom. You have to bring your mom.
Well, yeah, mom would have to come. So yeah, that would have to happen. But anyway.
So anyway, but yeah, so that's what that's our update for Christmas, I suppose.
Yep, we've officially, technically today is the beginning of the 12 days of Christmas. So there's that.
No.
Wait, is that tomorrow?
No, the beginning of the 12 days of Christmas is Christmas Day. The end is January 6th.
Oh, yeah.
I will die on that hill.
I remember you yelling at me about it now, because I got my present last year around this time, and you're like, you already started drinking them. I'm like, yes. First day of the 12th day of Christmas. You're like, no, it's not. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I am a Christmas heathen, I guess. I don't know what
to say. Yes, for Christmas last year, I gave Rick a 12 days of Christmas advent calendar, but all of the 12 days were little nip bottles of liquor, so different ones, right? And he started drinking before it. I was like, "What are you doing?" I was screaming.
Yeah, she got mad at me because I was drinking one on the show. I was like, "Hey, thanks. I'm gonna sip." She's like, "You started now? That's not what this was for." I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I did one for you and one for Brad, and Brad did the same thing. He unwrapped all of them. I'm like, what are you doing? It's one per day. And he was like, I'm not going to wait around for that. I'm like, oh, forget it. I am never going to do an advent calendar for Brad again.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I guess not. Oh, and by the way, I've seen a couple of pictures of Danny's house decorated. She is not joking. It is gorgeous in there, and it does look like Hallmark decorated that whole place. It is beautiful. So props, girl. You did a great job.
I have figured out that your former and always beloved co-host apparently has access to a different Hallmark channel than I do, based on a post I saw on his feed last night.
Oh dear. I saw that too.
I was like, I think you and I have different Hallmark channels.
Yeah, Vicky was a little saucy. But I am sure every single guy would be watching that movie. If Hallmark carried that movie, they'd be watching.
Just saying.
Oh my goodness, that was pretty funny though. So anyway, since we're all set for Christmas, I guess the topic du jour that has been circulating around social media and I guess, cable news shows and stuff like that has been the appearance of these little drones, not so little, over New Jersey. And, some part of me wants to laugh because, I mean, New Jersey, really?
I mean, if you were going to go anywhere, you really had to pick Jersey. That's my first thing.
You have 50 states. You have other more beautiful states. Although I'm not joking. South New Jersey is actually very pretty, but New Jersey is kind of tiny.
I don't know. Chris Christian's silhouette pretty much knocks out most of Jersey, so I don't know what they expect to find from the air. I'm just saying. I think that may be why they've started spreading out, because after a couple of weeks of hovering over New Jersey, you can't see anything but Christie's shadow. They've started spreading out to New York and Pennsylvania. So I'm pretty sure.
Well, there's a lot of speculation going on with the whole drone situation, and some people are saying, like, some of them are different sizes. Some are as big as a vehicle, a car, or a bus, or something like that, and others are smaller. But some people are not asking the right questions. Like, one of the right questions is, why New Jersey? No one's asking that question. The other question is, why aren't the Jerseyites shooting those things? Because even though Jersey has gun control, not every criminal obeys the laws. So I'm pretty sure there's people there with plenty of ammunition to at least hit one of these things. Now, I get that there's the issue of this thing is big enough it can fall and hurt somebody. Again, it's New Jersey. I mean, collateral is part of their daily thing. So I don't, I don't get New Jersey. I don't get why New Jersey. It's almost like this is to me anyway, this is a message being sent to the government. And they picked New Jersey because of its proximity to water, I suppose, and because it's near New York and other places of high interest. It's also a very, I guess there's a lot of people that live there, highly concentrated area of, populace, I suppose. But a lot of questions are not being asked. And one of them is, why does the government say they don't know? That's the big one.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, at this point, there's no way that somebody within our government doesn't know, for one, because it's been going on too long. I mean, we're up to like what, day 25 now of this crap?
Yeah, this has been going on for almost a month, and no one has any answers, and no one has made any attempts to actually take them down or anything. Now, all of these things, government law, they should have transponders. So again, another thing is like the government can do something about it, but they're not doing anything about it. It's almost, the Chinese spy ball that just floated across the entirety of the United States, coincidentally hitting a lot of military bases on the way. And the Biden administration saying, oh, it's harmless, it'll go over the water and it'll just go away.
Well, somebody that was in the chat with me and Jen last night that seems to know quite a bit about this, so I'm assuming it's probably one of the reasons they use a weird name on X, had mentioned that apparently there's an experimental drone testing base in Jersey. So they think that's why a lot of this is happening there. That
would make sense, but whenever something is being tested by the military, and this is just my experience because I was involved with the military as a spouse, and this is something that they have to tell you. I remember in Fort Bragg, we had to have plenty of warning before any testing was done on anything at a specific. I mean, they tell you weeks in advance And then they remind you days in advance. And then the day of, they remind you like 3 times again, this is going to happen at this hour. And it didn't matter if it was nighttime or daytime, they had to tell you. That was one of the reasons why the Vieques thing was such a big deal. Vieques had a Navy base there, and Vieques would warn everybody, we're going to be conducting some bombing tests on the range at this hour and on this day, blah, blah, blah. And there was a guy who went fishing. He didn't live in Vieques. He lived somewhere else, but he decided to go fishing. So he went to Vieques to go fishing, and he died as a consequence of the bombing that was going on during the exercises. And there was a big brouhaha and all that stuff. And that was the precursor to Bush actually deciding, you know what, we're going to BRAC everything. And the first thing that we're going to do is take out the military from Puerto Rico. And they shut down that base, and Puerto Rico lost like 25% of their economy when the realignment happened. But they were bitching about it. They wanted the Navy gone. And then when the Navy was gone, they bitched about the fact that they took the money with them. And I'm like, well, you can have both. You cannot have both. I mean, one or the other. But that's one of the things that the military does have to tell. If there's any testing that's going to be done and citizens can be impacted by it, they have to let the people know. So it's different. Like when you live out in Fort Bliss is huge, and they can actually conduct testing in an area that does not impact citizens that live in either near Holloman Air Force Base or Fort Bliss or in El Paso or Alamogordo or any place like that. I mean, it's that big, but New Jersey doesn't have that. New Jersey doesn't have the space. They should have warned people if they're going to be doing any kind of testing.
Well, so everything you're saying is correct. Everything you're saying is accurate. Everything you're saying is what's supposed to happen. But I'm going to reiterate a question that Calvin just asked in the chat. Aggie, have you met the current administration?
Sadly, I have.
So yeah,
I'm not even joking. I actually have.
that is everything that's supposed to happen. But this administration doesn't do anything the way they're supposed to. Now, what I thought was interesting is a few days ago, there was a Congress critter who took to a microphone and basically said, this is what we know from sources that I can't name. There is currently what they're now calling an Iranian drone mothership parked off of our East Coast. But the thing that I found most interesting about this, if this is true, because he mentioned that this thing parked or started making its way and parked and started out about a month ago, that would be around the same time that everybody just found out that 2 days after the election, the Biden administration sent Iran another $10 billion. So apparently Iran has bought this technology from China, according to this Congress critter, and has now parked it off of our coast. Whether that's accurate or not, I don't know. What I do like is the minute he took to the microphone, DOD came out and said, we don't know what it is, but we know that ain't it. If I was a Congress critter, I'd be going out to the microphone every day going, hey, we think it's this, just to see what they say.
That's a good point. And like I said, this is true about the, have I met the administration? Have I met this military? Yeah, okay, I get it. The thing is, it has been going for days. And if they're still not telling the people that they're doing testing and they have not warned people about it, and now they're coming out with the excuse that, oh, it's just testing, there's something very wrong. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. Nobody's saying for sure what it is. I mean, you've got the one Congress critter that said something, the DOD saying, well, we don't know what it is, but we know it's not that. My first question is, well, if you don't know what it is, how the hell do you know what? If you don't know what it is, how do you know what it isn't?
Again, if they say it's not that, this is a DOD, they should know there's testing going on. Why didn't they just say, no, we are testing some drones. This is what we've been doing. We didn't want to alarm anybody, which is a big ass lie because they always alarm everybody. But they could have said something else. But just to say, it's not that, but we don't know what it is, and still not tell the people that you are testing stuff? No, it doesn't wash. It really doesn't wash. And like I'm looking at this going, applying Occam's razor to this. That just seems like someone is trying to fuck with the government. They're trying to send a message. They're trying to not get attention necessarily from the government, just letting the government, this is what we can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've kind of wondered if it might not actually kind of be going the other way too, if it is us testing something that, because there's been some interesting things that have been leaked out through the media from these things. Apparently, they don't use any standard frequencies that we can find. So I find that interesting.
That's another big one. And
So,
if that's another big one. This is why I'm like, military testing. No, it doesn't meet the parameters for what they should be doing. Even and if they get caught, and if people get alarmed, the military should have already been saying, we're the ones conducting the testing. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're doing the other thing. They have yet to do something like that. They really haven't.
So, I mean, the problem is, and I know what you're saying because I used to live on an Air Force base. So you're right about the times that they do things like that if you're on or near a base. But for the folks that don't live in proximity to those things, I mean, how long did they let people think the SR-71 was a UFO? So this is not unheard of.
That's true. But like I said, population density of New Jersey is so high that they really should require that they do let these people know wherever they're going to be testing this, that should be something that they tell these people. Because I know in San Antonio, they do the same thing. The population density in San Antonio is huge. But when they're conducting tests out in Fort Cavazos, they don't necessarily tell everybody outside of Killeen, because it's not necessary. The population density outside of Fort Cavazos is really low. But when they were testing several aircraft outside of Kelly Air Force Base, they had to tell everybody in San Antonio, and they had to tell everybody down to Pleasanton, and Pleasanton's 40 miles away. So the population density should be that should be a parameter for the requirement of letting people know, hey, we're going to be doing testing. It's the same thing over in Fort Bragg. I mean, everybody says, oh, Fayette Nam, but that place is huge. It is really big. You have Hope Mills, you have Sanford, you have all of these other towns that are like really close to Fayetteville. And you have Fort Liberty, which is now Pope Air Force Base combined with Fort Bragg, and they changed the name and whatever. And so now you have, and this is the home of the 82nd, and so there's a lot of testing of stuff going on. They have to alert everybody around there, and the alert goes out about 45 mile radius when I was there, and that was in the 2001 era time frame. So you can imagine that in a place where the population density is that high, the alert should go out further out. It only stands to reason. It's only logical. But like I said, have I met, like Calvin said, have I met the military lately? It's true. It's not exactly like the military is, we have a great military. I'm not discounting it, but it has changed in the past 16 years, and it has eroded. It's sad, but it's true.
Well, hopefully we're about to put somebody back in charge of it that's going to change that, but I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Well, I already see steps. I mean, I have 2 children in the military, and one can tell me things, the other one cannot. So the one that can tell me things, she's been telling me, oh, they're changing this and they're changing that, and I'm like, well, that's, thank God. I don't say it out loud. I just, oh, really? That's interesting. Maybe this will happen, and it'll improve morale and blah 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 and all that stuff. She's like, yeah, hoping, blah blah blah.
Are they removing the stress card from boot camp? That's my only question. That's some bullshit.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to ask my brother-in-law about that. He's commander of a base over in Germany, and so he would know. And he has been after them to do this for a long time. So I'm pretty sure he's hoping that goes away.
Yeah, I had some guy, some kid on my feed the other day who graduated high school in 2015, who took offense to the fact that, because somebody made one of their smart ass comments about, I don't understand why Gen X is so proud of their generation because no other generation is like that. And I'm like, because we survive things that would make the rest of you self-soothe in the corner. So then this kid who graduated high school in 2015 is all like what? So I make a list, and he's like, yeah, I did all those things too. I was like, yeah, whatever. And then he's like, you have no idea who you're talking to. I went straight from the high school to the military. I was like, motherfucker, by the time you went to the military, the drill instructors were practically tucking you in with milk and cookies. Don't talk to me about the fucking military now versus what it was before. Just stop.
I just think, the whole drone thing is just hinky. I mean, and there's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Dang it, I hate it when I start getting like conspiracy theories. That's the term.
Well, so, and I don't know how accurate this is or if somebody's messed with it, but somebody had footage of what looked like one of the bigger drones. It looks like it was leaving a chemtrail, and they're like, see? I'm like, oh, don't start this shit again.
Please no. Please no. We don't need, trust me, I want my conspiracy theories to at least make sense and be clean and orderly and, I don't need the chemtrail thing. I don't need that. I had one of my cousins was married to a guy who really believed in that stuff. And yeah, she ended up divorcing him over that. That was, I'm not even joking. That was the main cause for the divorce, was the fact that he believed in chemtrails. And so,
all I'm going to say about that is, Ordy and I have done a juxtaposition on it. So there's that. Just saying.
Well, I kind of expected, all of this stuff to already be on checks and everything, but the thing is, like I said, some people are just not asking the right questions. The main one is why New Jersey? For me, that's the main one. You have the entirety of the U.S., and if you need water, you have the entirety of the East Coast.
I mean, we just answered the question.
But yes,
they're studying. They're studying the largest ever known land whale. Chris Christie.
So, I was talking to one of my sisters, and she was alarmed by it. And I was like, when did you first hear about this? And she said, well, I just heard about it yesterday. This was like 2 or 3 days ago. I said, you realize this has been going on for almost a month, right? She says, no, that's not what they said in the news. And I was like, what are you watching? And she said, well, I watch CNN. I'm like, well, there's your answer. And she was like, well, how do you know it's been going on for a month? I don't know, because I actually watch the news in other channels that tell me. And of course, I catch the news on Facebook and X and all that stuff. It's like, oh, please, you cannot get news from social media. And I'm like, well, Elon told me that X is the new media. I didn't say that. I did not say that because I just would go insane.
You should.
But
have been awesome. You should have said it.
But I told her, I said the thing is, you're also not you don't know military people, so you don't know that this has been going on in military channels, and so that's why probably you haven't heard much from it. So I was trying to give her some grace on that aspect, and she was like, do you think that they're spies? And I'm like, over New Jersey? She was like, ooh, that's a good point. I was like, no, they have a lot of refineries in New Jersey. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in New Jersey. I'm just making fun of it. And of course, we have several military bases there as well. But, I was telling her, here's the thing. If it were spies, you would think that the military would be onto it and would have done something about it, right? And she says, well, yeah. I says, well, they haven't.
Well, they didn't do anything about the Chinese spy balloon for like a month either. So,
Well, here's the thing, and this goes between you, me, and the rest of KLRN people listening. But I knew people in the military that were trying to push to take it down, and they were prevented from doing so because the reason given was they don't want it to go down and hurt somebody, go to an area like a school or housing development or something like that. And somebody said, well, why don't we just catch it? And I said, no, it's too big to catch or anything. And I'm like, really? Was it too big to catch? And everybody said, no, we could have just used a hook on one of our planes and caught it that way.
yeah, I mean, it's all BS. But anyway, I just found something that came out right before you and I went on the air, and it's on topic. So apparently John Kirby's changing his story a bit. We have a clip. Hang on.
That's okay. I'll wait.
You know, and you can't say? Can you tell me that?
No, I'm telling you, Martha, I'm telling you, we don't
You
know.
don't know.
We
Let me
can't
ask you this.
corroborate every single sighting. Some of them we have, not all of them, and we're working hard to do that. We know people are afraid of it. We know people have concerns. We have those same concerns.
Yeah, because
But
they're
what I
flying over
can
your
tell you-
house, and it sounds
Of
like there are
course.
motorcycles landing on your roof.
Of
so
course.
let me ask you this. One, person who watched this online said they think it's a Terradynamics Transwing Drone XP4, which is being developed by the U.S. Navy as a recon and logistics drone capable of picking up and dropping off packages between land and moving ships in high seas and winds. They're suggesting it's an American company. We asked the company. They said we can't speculate on the origin of the drones that are flying over New Jersey. So is that an avenue that has been inspected? Is this a private company that is practicing something? And wouldn't they have to clear something with somebody to have this kind of activity?
It could very well be, as I said, these could be commercially developed drones of some kind.
Why not just take one down and figure out what's going on?
Well, the idea of taking something down, again, you want to worry about public safety. First of all, we don't have enough conclusions to take that kind of a policy action. But let's just assume for a minute, Martha, that we did. I mean, you're not going to want to shoot something down where it could hit somebody's house or hurt somebody.
Well, the Coast Guard says that there are 30 of them following one of their ships in the ocean. So would that work?
I mean, again, we have to develop the policy options based on what we know we're dealing with here, and we just don't know enough to make those to take those kinds of actions. But my goodness, we're going to do everything we can to find out, and we're going to share as much as we can. I understand it's frustrating for folks.
Yeah.
It's frustrating for us. We want to know as well.
What does President Biden say about it?
He also has tasked the team to look into this and to be energetic in doing it to try to get answers. He saw some of these images yesterday. He has talked to his team, including his top leaders, including at the Defense Department.
Have you called in like AI experts or said like, why don't we ask Elon Musk what he thinks, or brought in outside experts?
We're working really hard right now inside in the interagency, and certainly supporting the FBI and DHS as they investigate this. And if we need to have additional conversations with people outside the lifelines, we certainly will do that. But I want to make sure I don't get ahead of the investigators and what they're doing.
It just seems weird. I mean, people, they're low. They fly fairly low, some of these. It just, I think, is amazing that the White House has no idea what's going on. I think that makes people feel really unsettled. In New Jersey, they sent out an intelligence bulletin, I should say, issued in December of 2024 with recommendations for encountering downed UAVs. And it says a downed or landed drone should not be approached. It says request hazardous materials response unit or local hazmat team. And then it says request the nearest bomb squad. Do you agree with those recommendations if one of these things comes into someone's house or lands in their yard, or they have to deal with it?
Yeah, look, I haven't seen that directive, but all that makes perfect sense to me as a former military person. If something like an aircraft of any kind lands in your backyard, or call the authorities. Don't approach it. You don't know what it is, and you don't know what kind of fuel might be on board. You absolutely should just call the authorities. Make sure you report it. Don't go near it. Don't touch it. You don't want to get hurt.
So yeah, there you have it. So just remember, this was the same guy that just yesterday was like, "Oh, none of this is even happening." That was about a little over 24 hours ago. None of this is even happening. It's not even real.
He's Baghdad Bob. He has been Baghdad Bob since he was the Pentagon spokesperson over during Bush's administration. And I don't know if you, I mean, seriously, I followed this guy because there was something really off. Every time the Bush administration would say something about the search or what they were planning to do, the ROE, how they were going to change it, blah, 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 blah. Pentagon spokesperson was up there and he would say the exact opposite of what the Bush administration was wanting to do. It was the most annoying thing. And I was like, I don't understand why this guy is like working contrary to the Bush administration. You know, we're at a time of war. He's acting like he is purposely trying to cut the legs off from all of the, you know, administration things that they want to do. Then what happens? He retires. He goes to work for the Obama administration. I'm like, oh, the light goes on. And when Trump became president, he was gone for a time. And then when Biden became president, he came back. This guy is a shill. He's rear end motherfucker. That's what we call him in the military. And he is just the slimiest snake oil guzzling salesman I've ever seen. I cannot stand him. And the only person that beats him out is Adam Kitzinger in my book. That's how vile this guy is.
Just barely, but I agree.
No. For me, I'm sure for some people they don't see Adam Kitzinger the way I do. But I'm in Texas, and that guy fled over there up north to come to Texas to try and get, you know, ensconced. I mean, he's a fucking carpetbagger. That's what he is.
Well, I mean, Danielle, to be fair, Kirby's a hobbit, so he's always been over his head.
Yeah, this is true, and it's true. And you know, when he gets caught in his lie, you know, his face, you know, his eyes become big, and he starts blustering, and I'm like, you know, he would do so much better if he were more like Jen Psaki. Jen Psaki could at least lie and make it believable, but to him, no. He's just like,
well, I mean,
Karine Jean-Pierre.
To be fair, Jen Psaki was hot, so when she lied to you, you didn't really care.
Yeah, this is true. So, but yeah, he was just. I could spend 2 hours venting my spleen about this guy because I have watched him since. I'm not even joking. I've watched him since 2004. And the things that he would say as the Pentagon spokesman, and he was an admiral, rear admiral, but he was still an admiral. And I'm like, how the hell did you become an admiral? Who did you have to blow?
To be fair, flag rank is 90% politician anyway.
Well, I think that was one of the things that he helped Obama with, was to weed out a lot of the brass that was not what's the word I'm looking for? You know, the brass that took their oath seriously, they were the first ones to go. So
yeah, I mean, you know, coming from a military family and, you know, living on a military base for several years, I've always been of the opinion that flag rank is basically a politician in a fancy suit and polished shoes. Because
there's absolutely not. There are very few generals that I have met that have actually been on the lines with their guys, that have actually done the job, that have, you know, and most of them started out as enlisted. The ones that didn't are the politicians. That has been what I have observed being in the military for like 30 years. You know, the ones that had prior enlistment experience, those generals, those colonels, they stuck with their guys and they were there in the trenches. They did the job alongside them. The ones that didn't, no, they were politicians. A lot of them were politicians. Now, I can't say the same about the medical corps because they work on a different level, but yeah, that was my experience. That the non-prior enlisted were actually the politicians of the brass corps. That's what we call them, the brass corps. So, and that has been my experience, and it's really unnerving when you meet a general and you cannot recognize him. I mean, I remember being in Germany, and we were doing. I was a Girl Scout.
You? No.
And we did, and I was at the home of the Big Red One. Okay. So we coordinated with the entire Big Red One to do Big Red One Day so that the Girl Scouts could experience different things that the 1st Infantry Division does. And so it was so cool. It was also the coldest day in February. There was 6 inches of snow on the ground, and those girls were troopers, let me tell you. And you went through several different little areas. You learned parade rest, you learned how to salute, you learned about the MREs, you learned how to splint and bandage, in case of somebody got hurt. You went through all of these little stages and sections, and at the end you would earn your badge, for your uniform. And there was this one guy, and he was talking to the girls, and he was showing them how to do this and showing them how to do that, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. And I said, "Hey, you're pretty good at this." And he says, "Thanks. I've been doing this for a very long time." I had no idea that he was the commander of the base. I've never met him. So imagine my surprise when my girlfriend tells me, "What were you talking to the general about?" I said, "Who?" I had no idea. But he was there with his guys. He wasn't just telling the guys what to do. He was actually doing the stuff with the guys. And that's a true leader. And sad to say, we're missing that in the military. There are very few of those people now. Okay, I think I lost Rick. Yeah, I probably did. So anyway, I guess I can talk for a while on my own, doing nothing. Can y'all hear me?
I'm guessing you didn't see my
Okay.
note.
No, I didn't, because I was on the other thing. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. I had a package dropped off and nobody else could answer the door apparently.
Okay, all right.
Not yours.
It shouldn't be mine. Okay, it's too early.
Hey Jeff, suck it. Okay, I feel better now.
Oh yeah, Jeff, you're in chat. Your package is en route. So I sent that off today. I honestly, I would tell other people if I sent packages, but honestly, I can't remember who I sent to. I know I sent Jeff's, and I know I sent yours yesterday or the day before, and I sent Ortiz, and I sent Brad's. Y'all, Brad's was such a weird shape. I had to use a Shiner beer box to send it. If he thinks I'm sending him booze, he's going to be severely disappointed. But anyway, so
you know what you should do? You should tweet this out later. Hey Brad, just so you know, because you've earned it, I'm sending you a Shiner for Christmas. Just leave it at
he puts up with a lot from me. He really does, because if I have a complaint about something that's going on, I will bitch at him, because I know he's not even around, but I'll send a DM saying, "I can't believe this happened," and I'll be complaining about everything, and then I'll tell him, "I feel so much better." And he'll send back, "Oh, glad I could help you." I know, he's a great guy. I'm so glad that he became my podcast partner. Did you know? Well, I got to tell you this real quick. Brad sent me my own personal banana duct tape kit for my birthday. I will be setting that up soon, and I will take a picture. It's going to be hanging right next to my laptop.
Well, so yeah, when we were on topic before I got interrupted, the conversation that Kirby just had with Fox News has brought up so many more questions for me, and it's one that I've had since the other guy had pointed out, that these things are circling one of our Coast Guard cutters or whatever. Last I checked, if you are within range of a military vessel and refuse hails, you can be treated as an enemy combatant. So I understand why they haven't done anything to take one of these things down and study it in a populous area. Off the coast doesn't count. So why have they not done that?
Well, this is how they can get away with that. The Coast Guard used to be part of the military. It is now part of Homeland Security. It is not considered a military branch anymore, even though those of us in the military still consider the Coast Guard as part of our military because they do the same type of job. They're out there, and so some of us, the old school, still consider them part of the military. The government does not. The government took it and put it in the Department of Homeland Security. And I think that's why they can get away with that.
It still makes zero sense to me.
No, it doesn't. I do not understand. Well, somebody explained to me why it makes sense to put the Coast Guard in the Department of Homeland Security. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But they're still military. No, they're not. Yes, they are. They will always be military to me. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Navy never considered Coast Guard military, just like the Army doesn't consider National Guard military. So that's always kind of been a thing from, the big boys to the little kids. But I mean, first of all, not only does the Coast Guard not need to be part of the Department of Homeland Security, as far as I'm concerned, we don't need a Department of Homeland Security. That was overkill.
Yeah, true.
Because they don't do anything. If anything, it's been made worse. Especially now that they have Secret Service under that umbrella too. Secret Service has gone to shit. It's the most politicized organization of any. Be the least.
Where was the Secret Service prior to them being in the Department of Homeland Security?
Treasury.
Were they their own?
No, they were part of Department of Treasury.
Treasury? Okay, that makes sense. Because they were Pinkertons.
Yeah, well, they did the whole. They still do the stuff on counterfeiting and everything else too. So they used to be under Treasury's umbrella.
Oh yeah, fun fact. I actually earned a coin from the FBI once. Their counterfeiting and money laundering operation. I actually have a coin. And people ask me, how the hell did you get this? Well, it's a funny story.
You see, what had happened was.
Well, no, what happened was one of my best friends growing up, he was like a big brother to me. He ended up becoming a U.S. Marshal, and then he went to work for the FBI under their counterfeit and money laundering section. And we were talking one day, on the phone, back when we still had landlines. This was, I want to say it was 2001, 2002, something like that. I don't know. And I told him that I had been shopping and I'm pretty sure that one of my bills is counterfeit. And he was like, well, how can you be sure? I was like, it just doesn't feel right. And I said, I don't know what it is about it. I just don't know. So he says, well, next time, keep it the bill. Because at the time I was in San Antonio. So it had to have been in 2000. At the time I was still in San Antonio. And he said, keep the bill and then just bring it home for Christmas and I'll look at it. And I said, okay. And so I brought it to him. And he said, I'll let you know in a couple of days. And he calls me back and tells me, yep, it's counterfeit. I need to know where you found it. I need to know who gave it to you. And I was like, oh my God, it has been 3 weeks. So I had to go through all my receipts, right? And everything. And I finally figured out where I had gotten this bill from. So he comes up and decides he's working out of the FBI office in San Antonio now because he's on the trail of a possible counterfeit operation or something, you know. And so it turns out that there was a counterfeiting operation going on in La Villita at the time. La Villita is an area right next to the Riverwalk, where there's a lot of artists and, you know, kitschy stuff is sold there, and it's very boho and whatever. I happen to have bought something there, and that's where I got my counterfeit bill. And so they managed to trace the counterfeiting operation. It was coming out of Eagle Pass, I believe. And for that, he gave me a coin. So I actually helped to break a counterfeiting operation. How about that?
See, this just reinforces one of our long-running jokes for you. We know that your dad used to be a spy, and you just proved it's genetic.
No, I'm not a spy. I just happened to bitch about the bill, and so I helped one of my best friends.
And Annie Walker, CIA case agent, actually really works for the Smithsonian. Come on, Aggie. Come on.
Yeah, well, okay.
We all know that your dad's cover was science-y. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, well, Danielle is right. We should ban the TSA as well.
Dude, I don't even know why they're a thing anymore, because if you're a migrant here using the CBP app, you don't have to do anything. They don't search you. They don't do nothing. You just hold up the CBP
and it's funny because a lot of people don't know, but not all airports have federal TSA employees. A lot of airports have private TSA employees.
Most of them don't, because it's private companies running it. There's only, I think, out of all like the TSA, I think only 20% are technically federal employees. Last I checked the numbers on it.
Well, I have never had an issue with TSA in San Antonio. I can honestly say that. Every time I've flown in or out of San Antonio, they've always been friendly. They've always been nice. I've never had an issue. I hate the whole thing that you have to take off your shoes. I hate that. I'm like, I have to wear clean socks today. They better have no holes.
Dude, I don't even like wearing socks. Most of the time, I'm not even gonna lie. I have like specific slip-on shoes that I will wear most of the time, because I don't like having things on my feet, especially now that I work from home. And that was when they started making noise when I was working for OU, where there was those times when they started making us come back into the office every so often. I swear I was so claustrophobic when I had shoes on. But now I figured out, because I do have that limp and peculiar gait issue, I have to put shoes on a couple times a week, or I start having issues walking because my feet get really pissed off.
I know this is just to help you out, but I have heard that Crocs work wonders for people who have, that kind of issue.
Yeah, you've mentioned those,
especially if you have tiled floor, and you don't have to go outside with them.
And, I'm 51 years old. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, it's true. Calvin makes a point. The rules are different at every airport. Even the rules are different. They're not consistent. And so this is why I will not fly into O'Hare in Chicago. That is completely, I will pay extra to avoid O'Hare. I have done so. I will never again go through that airport at all. I'm starting to feel the same way about Atlanta. And DFW is like hell.
See, that's one of the reasons why most of the time, and it's not just because I used to work there, most of the time I fly Southwest, because they use for the most part smaller airports. Like for Chicago, they use Midway. I much prefer Midway to O'Hare. And in Dallas,
that's where I fly.
In Dallas,
Love field.
They use Love Field, which is light years better than DFW.
And I do. I will avoid those airports like the plague. every time I have flown into DFW, they force me to go through TSA again. I'm like, I literally just came through that door. You know, I just got off a plane and then they force you to go through TSA again. What do you think I did on the plane? How the fuck do you know? How the fuck did I get on the plane in the first place?
That I will honestly
It's the
say
most
that
insane thing.
that is the one thing I miss about working for Southwest Airlines. That was a federal ID, so it was legally a federal ID. Anytime I flew since I worked there, I always took it with me and I just had it around my neck. I basically had pre-check. It was awesome. I missed that ID. I really do. I didn't have to deal with any of that when I worked there, other than them scanning the ID and making sure it was still valid. No shoes, no belts, no nothing. It was awesome. People were like, how come he gets to go through? Federal employee, mind your business.
But no, I'm with Calvin. Doge needs to like come in and save the day and start cutting shit back. Dude, because it's getting insane.
Doge needs to cut till it hurts and then cut some more. I don't even care anymore. Everything is so bloated. Everything is so nuts. I mean, I don't think anybody even realizes how much better off we would be if we would just start getting rid of all the extra bullshit. The one thing I will say that I'm really happy that I've been hearing Trump talking about is he's resurrecting the idea of getting rid of daylight savings time. I will say, in my opinion, I think he's doing it in reverse. We should let the clock go forward one last time and leave it that way. Because I don't know, I know I'm the oddball on this, and I hear it all the time. But I always feel out of sync when the clock goes back to what the world calls standard time. And
I want standard time.
I mean, I will say that eventually I would adjust to whatever we change to, as long as we don't have to change it again. So I'm not really that adamant that it needs to go forward and stay that way.
I mean, we need to get in step with Arizona. Okay. Let's face it, Arizona did away with this shit years ago, and they're fine.
Well, I mean,
it's like, well, who was it? Was it a Native American that said it's like cutting the bottom part of a blanket and sewing it on the top? It makes no sense anymore.
But I mean, really, as far as Arizona being fine, have you seen Arizona? Are you sure they're fine?
With the time thing. That's about it. No, I gotta say, I loved Arizona when I drove through it, though. Because, like I said, I drove all of I-10, and it was beautiful.
See, well, I liked Arizona because, you know, I went there. It was between my junior and senior year. My second cousin, who was in the Air Force, was stationed out there at the time. So we went out and spent a couple of weeks with her in the summer. And the one thing that I thought was awesome, because, you know, living in Oklahoma, where in the summer you're lucky if you still don't have like 50, 60% humidity. She laughed at me because she lived in a trailer park and they had a pool. And I was like, can I have a towel? I'm going to go to the pool. She's like, this is Arizona, son. You don't need towels. I'm like, what do you mean? And she was right. I went and swam. By the time I walked the quarter mile back to the trailer, I was dry. And I was like, this is new. This is weird. But yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, I think what scarred Arizona for me was my own damn fault, because I was one of those kids that, you know, much like now, always thought I was smarter than everybody else. So we're in a border town, right? And I see this Culligan, and you know me, I can speak some Spanish. So I asked him, is this actually Culligan water? And he's like, sí, señor. And I drank the shit out of it because I was thirsty. He lied to me, and I was sick for 4 days.
Bad.
Oh,
see, growing up, we had all the worst water. So I have this natural immunity. I can drink water anywhere in the world. I never had a problem in Mexico. I never had a problem in Hawaii. I never had a problem anywhere.
Hey, we have a Campbell sighting.
Yay!
Oh. But yeah, so you know, it's funny because everybody starts talking about, you know, what was the one invention that really started bringing society together? It was beer.
Beer.
Because before then, nobody had anything they could fucking drink. It was beer and wine.
One of my favorite books ever is History of the World Through 6 Glasses, and it's basically how we have evolved with different drinks. You know, beer is one, wine is another, coffee, tea, soda, that kind of thing. And so how, the industrialization, how, we basically evolved as a society with these 6 different beverages. And it's really cool. I read it, oh Lord, years and years and years ago. And it's still one of my favorite things. I go back and read it every so often because it's very entertaining in a way. And I highly recommend it. But yeah, beer is what brought a lot of people together. Not gonna lie. There are texts and hieroglyphics that show the making of it. There's the Sumerian texts, I believe, in China and India, everywhere. There's history about their making of beer. And, it is liquid bread. So I guess it was, a mistake, a happy mistake, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if beer ever was invented on purpose or not, because you're right, it's basically bread but liquid. So, but if it was a mistake, it was in fact a happy mistake. But yeah, it's funny because everybody used to ferment everything they drank because it killed all the crap in the water. So.
Oh man! Well, we're nearing the top of the hour. Do we have a show after this? I think we do.
We do not. Cats has family in town, so I just told them we were going to pick up that one after Christmas. So.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, no other shows, but we've had a full night. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want you to freak out, but we have 720 people watching us right now. So.
I'm sorry. What?
You heard
Holy cow. Welcome to the new listeners tonight. Welcome to KLRN Radio.
We hope you like it around here. And we wish you a Journey Christmas. We wish you a Journey Christmas.
Oh my goodness. You were right. That surprised me. That really did.
You know what? I just got to thinking about it. I was like, if Mickey can do that weird intro for Dude Bros, I can start doing funny intros myself for the other ones because I can do that.
Of course you can. You can always, just give me a heads up.
No, because then they get to hear you completely lose it when you hear the part that I warned you about.
No, just a hint, I did something different. Okay, so that I'll be prepared at least.
I did, and you still lost it. Remember, I told you there's a surprise.
Yes, but like I said, I don't want to have to start talking when the music grows low. So, if there's something coming after the music starts fading, then I'd like to know. I don't have to know what it is.
That's normally why I tell you, because I know that I still haven't gotten the gate quite right on the board. So once something plays for a while, the board will start trying to fade it out on its own. And I know I don't hear that, but everybody else does. So normally that's why if I've done something that makes the intros longer than average, that's why I tell everybody now. So they're not trying to talk over it, because it sounds quiet on you guys' end, but it's not quiet on my end, and it doesn't translate right on the audio either. So, but that's part of the reason why I gave you the heads up, because I knew it was going to do that. I was like, if I don't tell her I've done something, she's going to think it's a normal intro and it's going to fade down. She's going to start trying to talk, and the next thing she knows, she's going to have Cartman in her ear. She's going to.
Yes. So you did well. You did well. That was hilarious. That's funny.
All right. Since we are back around to the top of the hour, and your list is still shorter than mine somehow, why don't you remind folks where it is that they can find you?
You can find me at Aggie Weekend and at Aggie the Barkeep. Those are over on X. You can find me Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, doing the Cocktail Lounge with the ever suave Brad Slager. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Friday nights, doing He Said, She Said with the awesome Rowdy Rick. Last Wednesday of every month, we do Toxic Masculinity, where the guys get together to discuss manly issues, and we host a Babe of the Month, and I bring the drink of the evening. And last but not least, the first Monday of every month at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Jeff and I do Spirited Books, where we review some books that are not exactly in our comfort zone, or that we're not, really familiar with, and we match a cocktail libation to what we're reading. So it's always fun. And how about you?
Well, you can find me tomorrow night pushing buttons for the Front Porch Forensics crew. It's their night up on the rotations, so that kicks off at 9 p.m. Eastern. Then I'll be back Sunday night doing America Off the Rails, 10 p.m. Eastern. Monday off for the most part. There'll be some sort of a replay up in my spot or something, most likely. And then Monday night, I think that's when Jeff starts the holiday special rotations, which reminds me, I still need to get some holiday greeting stuffs recorded over the weekend because I keep telling them I'm going to do it. And the weekend I had time to do it, I got sick. So yeah, I'm behind again. Big surprise. And then Tuesday through Friday, Rick Robinson Show, noon to 3. Tuesday night, hanging around with the Manorama panel at 10 p.m. Eastern, right here live on KLRM Radio and Rancor Steve's Manorama channel on YouTube and Rumble. And then Wednesday night, as far as I know, we're back to full boat. Usually bonus reels at 7 p.m. Eastern because we've had to move some things around. 8 p.m. Eastern would be, I believe this is still, we're not into the last Wednesday of the month yet, I don't think. So that would be Conservative Curmudgeon. Wednesday night at 9 is kind of up in the air because we are trying to do a crossover for Buffoon of the Year with the Buffoon of the Week crew. So that will probably be on in that time slot once we get it nailed down. 10 o'clock is the Rick and Orty Show. And then after that, we switch over to the SHR feed with BZ's Berserker Bobcat Saloon, which I was a guest on last night. So if you're bored, you can go check that out if you want when we're done here. And then Thursday, Jen and Rick, 10 p.m. Eastern. Before that, we'll, which I don't produce this one. Before that, we'll have, actually, I guess I do because that's this next week would be the Disasters in the Making, which I produce for Brad and Paul. And then Friday, back around doing this stuff with you, usual time after doing the Rick Robinson Show. When I'm not doing all that, you can find me as a contributor on twitchy.com, misfitspolitics.com, theloftusparty.com. And I also produce the Loftus Party podcast, which drops usually Tuesday mornings. Did I mention my name's Rick? I'm a workaholic. And my last meeting was forever ago. That's it for us for tonight. Thanks to everybody hanging out. We've got a lot of folks that are checking us out for the first time. Hopefully we didn't scare you off and you'll be back for more shows later. But we're going to get out of here now because I have more work to do to get ready for first Christmas tomorrow. So bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Wish you a Joni Christmas. We wish you a Joni Christmas. We wish you a Joni Christmas and a Proby New Year.